If the 49ers offense is going to be better in 2025, they're going to have to get a lot better in one key area. What area is that? We'll break it all down for you on today's Gold Standard Podcast. What is good, everybody? Welcome to another Gold Standard 49ers podcast, part of the Pro Football Insiders. I'm Rob Stats Guerrera. It is Thursday. Johnny Dell from Johnny Dell's Football Academy is here with us. Johnny, how you doing today?
Oh, doing fantastic. It's been a busy week. There's been lots of training camp stuff going on. There's lots of film that I've been pouring over. I even started going back, with Frank Gore being announced as a Hall of Fame candidate. I went back and I had to watch some Frank Gore this week. I got a little distracted with it, and then I kept getting distracted by Joe Staley, because Joe Staley is so fun to watch, and just going back there brought back some good memories, which you had a great conversation with Joe Staley a few years ago.
Yes, Joe is awesome. Nothing about him, everything about him is great. On the field, he was a tremendous player. Off the field, he was great to talk to. He joined our show a couple of times, and he gave us an hour each time. It was awesome. We really enjoyed it. Huge fan of Joe Staley. Please, we need more Joe Staley. Come on the show again, Joe. We'd love to have you. On today's show, we are going to break down the running game in the red zone. You and I were talking. We both felt like this was an area last season where the Niners really struggled, and it led to a lot of the frustrating ends of drives that were usually field goals for the Niners. And we know that's why the offense couldn't get to the level they were at in previous seasons. They moved the ball between the 20s just fine, but they bogged down in the red zone. So we want to take a look at some of the issues there that caused those problems. They were 20th in early down red zone EPA last season. They were 7th in 2023. So that is how much they fell off. And this was crazy. This isn't a red zone specific stat, but I came across this and I wanted to blow your mind with this. In the first half, 36% of the 49ers runs on first down gained a yard or less. So they had some issues in the running game last year, out of the red zone, in the red zone. We're focusing on in the red zone this year, though.
Yeah, and they had a lot of issues, and I think there was. I want to be careful because I don't want it to seem like sometimes when we look at things and say, okay, there were some issues in this area or that area, and point to a player being just a little bit off on some stuff. People think it's like that specific player bashing sort of moment, and this isn't meant to be that. This isn't meant to be like a Jordan Mason, I don't mean to have any spoilers on it, but Jordan Mason bashing session, because it's not all on him. But when you look at last year and you look at the numbers from last year, Jordan Mason's rush EPA was minus 8.8. Christian McCaffrey in a down year last year was minus 4.7. The year before, Christian McCaffrey was like plus 0.3, I think, or plus 0.7. So you're talking about 9 points expected added difference from Christian McCaffrey to Jordan Mason. And a lot of that speaks to the red zone game. And that's just part of the issues that the 49ers had. That's not to bash on Jordan Mason. He had some really good, yards per carry numbers, but it was kind of boom or bust a lot of times. The consistency wasn't there as much. And some of the things that would lead to a 15-yard run were the same things that would lead to only a 1-yard run or a 0-yard run. And then it trickles down to the rest of the offense. I think in 2023, the 49ers faced 38 or 39% of snaps were against an 8+ man box. In 2024, last year, it was 29%. So you're seeing a big drop in how that just tells you what the league thinks of the run game in 2024 versus 2023.
It was a clear difference. You could see it. It felt different. It looked different. And with Christian McCaffrey back, just having him back, I think helps alleviate some of this, but there are also still issues that we want to address. And I agree, we're not trying to bash any one player. We're trying to find reasons and explanations for why things happened. And we want to know, is this a player doing something he shouldn't do? Is it a lack of execution on the offensive lineman's parts? Is it a poor game plan from Kyle Shanahan? We just want to learn what the reasons were. So we're not trying to bash any one person or any coach or any offensive lineman. We just want to be educated. And I think that's a good point that you make.
Yeah. And these are also some of the things that we're going to show. I'm just giving this time to re-render out because I forgot to put a little logo on there to help us out. But these are also things that we may have not heard in the headlines or were fully talked about in different ways. But I remember Chris Foerster talking about several of these things throughout the season last year. It's just we don't always pick it up. And I'm not blaming anybody for not picking that up. It's just sometimes if you don't know what, they're talking as coaches, and there's just some things that you hear that I hear and I go, I understand exactly what they're talking about in this, that again, it's where they have to be careful of, they talk in a world of lingo that other coaches understand. And sometimes it gets missed by the wayside. So one thing he was talking about specifically, and we're going to see is not in this specific play, but at other ones, is the head stripe. These helmets, you see the stripe on their head, and he was talking about, where that head stripe points and pointing early. And we're going to see some of that as it goes. But one thing, it was a clear difference when I went and looked back at 2023 versus 2024 was the way that Christian McCaffrey sets up his blocks and the patience he has in the run game. And it's sometimes just a little hiccup to set up his blocks was just different. And that's why Christian McCaffrey is an elite player. But it makes a difference big time when you get to the red zone. And I remember I had an argument with somebody on X last year about this because they were banging the Jordan Mason drum. And I said, well, Jordan Mason doesn't set up his blocks as well as Christian McCaffrey in there. And he was like, well, the yards per carry don't say that. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm not looking at the stats. I'm looking at what did the game film actually show. And you see that. So this is a game that cost us big time. It's the Minnesota Vikings game. And this is a red zone trip that cost us sorely in this game. We ended up not converting on 4th down. And so this is the first run from scrimmage, the first play, 1st and goal against the Vikings. Game is pretty much, in contest, and we end up coming away with 0 points. So this is a very consequential trip in here. And what we're going to do is we're running a play called counter sift. So what this is going to look like is you run a counter sometimes where you block down and you bring this guy Juszczyk out to kick out, and you're gonna work this outside. Well, counter sift, what it's going to do is you're going to block down, but you're going to end up cutting it up through here. And so Juszczyk's going to come around like he's going to kick out, and then he's going to turn up and get on a linebacker. And that's what counter sift is. So we're going to run counter sift here with Jordan Mason. And the running back, he's got to take a couple steps over, let this develop. You want this to look like you're going to come to the play side, to the front side, and you're going to, so it's counter footwork is what the playbook calls for. And then you're going to work this up and through. You want to press towards the middle, draw these second level defenders to the defense's right, and open this up and set up the block for Juszczyk on the linebacker. As we watch this play develop, and it froze on me. I hate it when it does.
These little details, though, matter.
I'm telling you,
it matters.
It does.
Because you need, especially on a counter, you need to trick the defense into making them think you're going one way, which will open up the hole on the backside. So if you don't sell these little things, especially in the red zone, like that's what makes the difference between touchdowns and field goals.
Exactly. And so what you're going to see here is you're going to see Jordan Mason. He starts out all right. I would like him to come a little more laterally. He needs to move more laterally as he's stepping over to then go, but he's going to end up taking it one jab step, and then he's going to shoot straight through this gap. And again, sometimes the impatience. And so he just gets tackled right in the hole, no gain. Juszczyk, what Juszczyk wants is he's got to sell that he's coming around on a kick out block and then try and turn up. So what Jordan Mason's got to do is he's got to help Juszczyk on that. Either you got to stay on this track and hide in behind here a little bit more so that this guy's going to work farther over, and then Juszczyk can seal him off and he doesn't have to chase this guy, give it a little bit of beat, or you need to even carry it farther play side and move this linebacker over so you check and come down on him. You've got to set up this block a little bit better. Instead, he's just flying straight ahead and into the linebacker. Okay. And some could say, well, that's on check. Well, let's watch Christian McCaffrey run the exact same play in the red zone. So this is the same exact formation, same exact play. We're going to bring check over on this sift block, and we're going to run Christian McCaffrey up in here. This is against the Seahawks in the playoffs from 2023 or 2022, actually. So here it comes. Look at Christian McCaffrey's patience. I'm going to play this and let you see it. Of the footwork is different. So we're going to watch his footwork. Christian McCaffrey, jab step, over, shuffle, and then he goes, and then he's going to hesitate and then hit the hole. There's just a little bit of patience. It happens so fast, it's hard to see in real time. But that's the difference, the footwork between that play being stuffed at the line versus now you have a six-yard gain. And a 6-yard gain on first down versus a no-yard gain on first down is a big difference.
And this is not, an issue with the offensive lineman. This is not an issue. It's all on the running back. And something that Chris Forrester has talked about in this system, you have to be patient. It's really hard for running backs to learn. You have to wait. And because look, I get it, especially Jordan Mason, right? He's like, I want to play. He finally gets in there. You want to, show out and prove to everybody that you're good, and you want to do as good as you can for the team. But you just have to hold that in check, especially in this running game. And he didn't do it, at least on that play that you showed.
Right. And Jordan Mason's a downhill runner. That's his thing. Like, he's going to get downhill with physicality and he's going to hit the hole hard. But sometimes the lack of patience ended up hurting. Because if you look, again, Jordan Mason was just taken off and he's flying straight up through here. Instead, you're going to see Christian McCaffrey. He's going to understand where this comes. So he veers a little bit outside. He's going to move the linebacker outside, and that sets up Juszczyk's block. So that's how he ends up getting this hole. Like, he set up that block. It's a little movement. It's very subtle, but those are the things that separated Christian McCaffrey from a Jordan Mason, and why Christian McCaffrey is getting the carries is in. You see a little shoulder movement. It draws the linebacker in, and you're able to then get a gain on it. That's the difference in how you're running. It's the same play. We're going to see then even Elijah Mitchell here. This is the same play. Okay, so you're going to have this sift block come across. And it's this, and you see the same thing, that he's just a little more patient in it. Excuse me, this is Christian McCaffrey. And so now I had Elijah Mitchell on a different play against Washington. Like I said, I've watched a ton of film. But here he's going to press the hole a little bit harder and hide in behind his guard to let this sift block come around and pick up the second level. He's going to tuck in, and then he's going to break. He was planning on breaking to that hole the entire time. That's where this play is going to go. It's going to start here in the A gap, and it's going to work outside. That's how they're going to work this. And he knows, this is Spencer Burford, that he's not beating, I think it's Jonathan Allen, across his face. Like, that's not happening. This block is coming down. So he knows this play pre-snap is coming out here. But he's going to set this up by pressing the hole, hiding, and then bouncing. He's not just heading straight for the hole. He's getting it up, and you can see it. He set up his cut. He knew it was coming. That's there. He is able to anticipate it. And on first down, you get an 8-yard run down to the 2-yard line, which sets you up for a touchdown. Those are the little differences in how the runs were happening. It wasn't every single time, no, but we saw a trend with Jordan Mason versus Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey was just more effective. Again, he's an elite player. Jordan Mason's not.
And, there's a lot of guys that can see a hole, hit the hole hard, and gain, 5 yards, whatever the case may be. There aren't a lot of guys that can do things like Christian McCaffrey did, like setting up the blocks like that. And those are the differences between the running backs, right? It's not just about your 40-yard dash time or how strong you are. It's those little subtle things. And so that's why I think the 49ers were saying, yeah, Jordan Mason is a good player, but we're okay trading Jordan Mason because we think we can find another guy that can do what Jordan Mason does. The question is, do they have anybody else besides Christian McCaffrey that can do similar things to Christian McCaffrey? And maybe they don't. We'll find out. But I think that's part of the reason why they were comfortable saying, we'll give up a draft pick for Jordan Mason, because they think that whether it's Jordan James, whether it's Isaac Guerendo, somebody else can do what Jordan Mason did.
Exactly. And And here's another example. So this is what I was talking about with Chris Forster talking about the head stripe turning a little bit early. I believe it was after this game that the press conference, he was talking about that. But this is a play called Mike, and this is a goal line run. So what the running back's going to do is he's going to take an aiming point as if there's a tight end out here. We don't have a tight end out here, but that's where his aiming point needs to be. And he's got to press this for 5 full steps, and then they're going to cut this up inside the tackle. That's where they want to go with this run. It can go there. It can go in the what we call the A gap, or the 2-hole, 4-hole, or 6-hole. But the aiming point is way out here. That's what's really important about the whole thing. And you're going to see this run just goes for nothing. It's another one. This is that Vikings game. Another important trip down to the red zone where we don't get good production and you have a really poor execution of this play. We're going to see this from the end zone. Jordan Mason's head just turns upfield too soon. So these players, these linebackers, they're going to get eyes on his head stripe and they're going to watch which direction is this going. I'm going to follow the head stripe. So as you see this, Jordan Mason starts out with a good angle, but he's already assuming, because he sees this out here and he saw this, that Pooney had to try and get that block, that he's going to cut this up. He's decided pre-snap, I'm cutting this up. And it becomes very apparent as he's already off his track. He takes one step and then he's shallowing his track because he's trying to get ready to cut back. So he should be
telegraphing to the defense exactly where he's going.
Right. He should be a little bit wider and pointed out more this direction. He's not. And you're going to see this linebacker's reading this head stripe, which is now pointed where? At the butt of the center. He knows right there, I'm going to slip this block, and because he's coming through here. That's what they're looking at. And so Banks has no chance to make the block, and you get a tackle in there. Again, if we watch this at full speed, you're going to see that this guy is going to undercut the block and get in here early because he's reading the head stripe of Jordan Mason. He's going to see it, and there he goes. And he doesn't press the hole. This is playoffs 2024 or 2023 against the Packers. This is a play to win the game. This is Mike, same exact run play. Watch Christian McCaffrey on this. He's going to take a track to the outside step of the tight end, and you're going to see this head stripe is going to stay out here just a little bit longer. It's happened so fast, but these are the margins in the NFL. And you're going to see that that's what causes everything. Because if I go back to the all-22 for a second, what you see is Christian McCaffrey already understands they got 5 guys out here. I got 4 blockers. I'm not making that edge. So he knows he's cutting that through here. He knew it pre-snap. I think he talked about it in the press conference that he knew he was going to get the hole. He knows he's going up here. So everything in this is to set that up. So he's going to take every step and he's going to be on time. Jordan Mason cut on the 4th step on that play. He cuts on the 5th step. He's going to cut it up in here. And all of that does is make all this flow out. So watch these guys up at the top as they flow to the outside because Christian McCaffrey's attacking and pressing the hole. That's what causes these movements. It doesn't just happen, or this isn't just a defense not playing it as well. This is Christian McCaffrey, that head stripe staying there. He presses, and you get that big cutback lane. Those are the differences.
And I think sometimes, we see the plays that don't work, and we're like, oh, the offensive line, he's not getting any blocking. And it's like, well, wait a minute. This isn't an offensive line blocking issue. This is a running back execution issue. It's the offensive line, of course, has to block, but the running back has to do their part as well. And you got to be able to say it all has to work together. And if even one little piece of sand gets in the machine, the offense can grind to a halt. So I think a lot of times our tendency, again, is to blame the offensive line where that may not be the case. And you and I did a breakdown last week about the offensive line. And that's what you were pointing out last week too, is like, hey, let's not just be so quick to get on these guys. When you actually look at it and break it down, it's a little deeper than that.
Exactly. And again, this is stuff that Chris Forster talked about several times last year. This isn't just me coming in and saying this, isn't just you coming in and saying this. This isn't us just ignoring things on there. They're saying, like, well, not everything's on the offensive line. Sometimes, running backs have to be on their track. They have to do this, and he'd say things like that. But again, it kind of gets lost in the noise because it's just a lot easier to say, well, our offensive line sucks. And again, our offensive line had some issues last year. I'm not saying this is all on Jordan Mason. But on the other side, when you get into the red zone, the details matter even more. You have less margin for error. You can't just be a battering ram anymore. Like on this play, we're going to run a tight zone. And this is just, again, I don't like the way Mason's not setting up blocks. He's hunting for holes. And so you just see that he's again flying full speed. With Christian McCaffrey, you tend to see more patience. You tend to see he waits for these blocks to develop. Jordan Mason's trying to get downhill in a hurry. Now, the other side of it is you got Braden Willis here, who's got to perform a reach block here to get inside 95 and hold that point, and he gets absolutely destroyed. He just does. Like, he gets driven right into the hole because Jordan Mason wanted to come. We want to hit this hole. We do want to hit that one, but then Jordan Mason's got to come through here. Again, if you're going to make this cut, you have to press this hole harder. Get this defensive tackle who's got eyes on you to try and move over. You do that, then you got a hole. If you just fly in and say, okay, I'm coming into this hole, it's not going to be there. And you run into a brick wall like he does right here. You get Jake Brendel doesn't have his block set up really well. There's a number of issues there. So this is on both of them. You need to press the hole a little bit longer. Again, Christian McCaffrey would do that. And I have clips, I've seen it happen over the years. We've seen it happen where he'll just stutter just a second and then burst through the hole. That's the difference, is that you have a guy that's trying to be a battering ram through here. You don't get great blocking from your tight end number 3. And that's one of the reasons the 49ers go out and get Luke Farrell. Here we're going to see Christian McCaffrey. This is going to be not quite the same play, but it's it's an inside zone. You're going to get a kick out block from Juszczyk. You see how the way Christian McCaffrey is going to run this, that there's just a little bit of hesitation and patience, and he sets that up and he works through to the hole. That there's more patience here. This is blocked very similarly. It's the same blocking rules, but you're going to see Christian McCaffrey is going to press it. Once he sees this flash, he's going to work his way to his blockers and find the open hole. He's not just looking to be a battering ram, and he slips through there and he gets 5 yards. That one is 5 yards, one is no yards, at a point where that red zone trip was what cost the 49ers the game in that Rams game.
So not only do you have somebody that is, disguising things and disguising where they're going and setting up blocks and creating yards and opportunities, but also when you combine that with just his effect on the rest of the defense, that's part of the reason why they were so effective in the red zone. It's because he's doing both. He has the gravity to influence defenders and set up linebackers and things like that, and he's doing the small things correctly. This just in, Christian McCaffrey is a really good player.
100%. And it's not to say, the 49ers have to have Christian McCaffrey or they can't be effective. It's not just that, but it's when we see that kind of a drop off, we have to put things in perspective. And this, Christian McCaffrey, I've even seen some people saying we should trade Christian McCaffrey. And I'm like, that's insane. Like that is genuinely insane. That is terrible. But your running back helps your offensive line. Your offensive line can help your running back. But there's a reason they let Jordan Mason go. He didn't get paid and they traded him, he was expendable in this team. And so you get Jordan Mason back. That speaks to Jordan James needing to really be up to speed on it. Isaac Guerendo has got to learn from his rookie year. He dealt with a lot of the same issues as Jordan Mason did last year. That was another part of the issues. And so those guys have got to learn. I have to learn patience, setting up my blocks, the details. Because Christian McCaffrey, when he came, that was the thing that he said was different from this system than what he'd been in before. He said the level of detail in the 49ers run game is unlike anything I'd ever seen before. They are so incredibly detailed. And it's things like that.
And I think, too, with a guy like Guerendo, who's known for his speed famously, I think it's really hard to tell a guy like that, wait, slow down. because he knows like, hey, I could make a big play. I could, change this game, and he can. But in order to do that, he maybe has to slow things down, at least in his head first. And maybe it takes a year. I don't know. By the way, the Niners are practicing. Ricky Pearsall is back at practice, so that is good news. Also, since we're talking running backs, Amir Abdullah, come on down. He signed with the 49ers. Andy Isabella signed with the 49ers. He's at practice today. I think he's wearing number 7. And so that's just a quick little update here. We got a super chat from the Cabo Kid. Maybe this is Kyle Shanahan. Check it in. YouTube channel member, thank you so much. Says, love to see this marriage hitting its stride. Can't wait for the in-season breakdowns. Keep up the good work, fellas. Well, you're going to be happy, Cabo Kid, because I was talking with Johnny before the show, and we're both champing at the bit for preseason film to break down, and we can't wait to do that for everybody.
100%. Yeah. Preseason film is some of the funnest for me because it's about player evaluation. I'm not focusing on scheme and scheme execution necessarily. I'm looking at player evaluation, and that's fun. That's to see with the shiny new toys, all the kids that are out there that might make the team, might have an impact. But it also can be a heartbreaker. I was so excited for Curtis Robinson last year after preseason. I thought he had the best preseason of any of our linebackers, and then he tore his ACL. So, that'll be a really fun battle to watch. Tatum Bethune. If Curtis Robinson can get out there for any preseason this year, that'd be awesome. And then the new kid, Nick Martin and D Winters. I want to see all those guys go out and hit some people. But this is a play. We showed it last week. So we're coming back to it because, again, now I'm going to show it with the same play run differently. And this one is not on Jordan Mason. So been hard on Jordan Mason. We're going to give him a break here for a second. We're running an outside zone here. This is 3rd and 1. You need 1 yard. I think it was 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1. and we're going to bring Braden Willis out. And this is Eric Sauber. They're going to try and blast this edge out and get Jordan Mason on a wide zone to be able to cut up in here and get a yard, get 2 yards. And this blocking, this physicality effort, that's even the phrase, it locked up again. I think it's because I just pushed it out and it was trying to sync with my cloud. Sometimes the cloud will just really mess with you.
I remember play because I remember your disdain for the blocking. It was
Saubert and Willis is just bad. I mean, this is terrible effort on the edge to blast. I mean, there's 2 of you, and Braden Willis is getting a running, like a moving start, and they can't move. They can't move the edge. Like, I get he's a good player, but still, that is such little room. Okay, let's watch this same play. This is the exact same play. Here's George Kittle. Yushik's going to come in motion, and they're going to blast this edge out. That one, they didn't move past the hash. Okay. Watch this version of it when you get these guys doing this.
Oh, my goodness. They're running right out of the club.
They have moved him out to the numbers. That's the difference.
Do you think that Willis makes the team this year?
No, I don't.
I don't know. Like, how does he? Like, what has he shown that proves that he deserves the spot? I feel like every time we see Braden Willis, he's messing something up.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at this, they moved the edge from here to here, from one side of the hash to the other side of the hash. That's all it is. And this is, again, a reason why they go out and get Luke Farrell. So now we're on the hash, and they're going to end up out by the numbers is where they get this. And that is the difference between your running back getting stuffed in this hole and having enough. This is a 3rd down. They're able to get 3 yards. It doesn't seem like a lot, 3-4 yards, but they're able to get yardage. This was 1st down. So they get 4 or 5 yards. That's the difference, though. One play, you get 0 yards. The other play, in a crucial 3rd and 1, this play, now you get 5 yards. We go down and we score against the Giants. That's the difference in what those guys do. I was pointing it here because I forget people can't see where I'm pointing. That those guys do in the blocking game. That's a big difference. So it's not all on Jordan Mason. Some of it is on your tight ends and guys that aren't blocking. Because I believe at that point in the game, George Kittle had to step out because he had tweaked a little something.
Oh, George. Please stay healthy, George Kittle. We need you for so many damn things. But But yeah, when it comes to short yardage situation, red zone situation, all those little details matter. And it's funny because you look at that play call and Kyle's like, all right, we need 1 yard. I'm going to have 2 guys to block one edge, and I'm going to have one of them moving before the snap. So like just conceptually, fundamentally, you are setting yourself up for your team to have success. And yet the execution there just was completely lacking, and they can't do it. And these are division games. That was a game against the Rams. We know how close all these games were. It's stuff like that that is the difference. And especially in those division games, and especially this year, that's where they have to be better, because those NFC West games are going to be massive.
Yeah, so this one's going to hurt. Just be ready for it. This is the Cardinals game. This is a game Jake Moody had the high ankle sprain, so we don't have a kicker. And we're ahead 21-23 at this point. I think it was 21-23. And this is coming down. If we score here, game's over, we win. And going into after the first 5 games of the year, we're 3-2. Instead, we walk away 2-3.
Mm-hmm.
So we're running our wide zone here. This is the bread and butter. Again, Jordan Mason is going to look at this. Now, there is a weird conflagration that happens. They're going to shoot this inside, and we have a mess up here. But again, Jordan Mason just getting too indecisive sometimes and just too downhill and doesn't let some things develop. We're going to get this. He's got an opening to cut this back in and probably get 5 yards, 6 yards, maybe more. But he ends up getting indecisive. He tries to bounce it outside and wrestles, and then you get a fumble.
Oh, that one hurt.
So this one hurt.
They're about to go up double digits in that game, salting the game away. Mr. G,
oh my goodness,
so much for the super chat. Says, only because I enjoy watching you both so much, I get the best of both worlds. That is tremendously generous. Thank you, Mr. G. We appreciate it. I promise it's a labor of love. And I'm especially grateful because YouTube has been getting a little ridiculous, quite frankly, with some of their copyright claims and taking money away from people that work hard to earn it. So glad that, Johnny, you deserve all this and more. So thank you, Mr. G.
Thank you so much, Mr. G. If we look at this, what I would like to see here is, yes, there's this snafu here, and Buda Bakers are going to come and blow up George Kittle. Okay, those things happen. Jordan Mason, you've got to keep your head pointed this way. He's going to turn his head up, and that causes this inside to get a little clogged up, and then he's going to say, oh, and then he's going to bounce outside. You have to be decisive. You need to press the point, make the cutback. What he's going to do here is he should press one more step and then cut in. Because if he does, this is going to be him one-on-one with the safety. And we'll see it a little bit better from the end zone. But instead, he doesn't. And so you take one more step outside, you press a little bit more. 43 is going to have to respect that. He's going to have to take one more step, and then it's going to be there. If we watch this from the end zone, this is going to really frustrate some people. Again, it is there. Yes, there's this blow up at the point of attack, but here's the point. Jordan Mason wears the head stripe, already turning upfield. That means this is coming in. That means this is coming over. They're going to watch that head stripe. I want to see that head pointed out this way. One more step, and then you're going to cut this up, and you're going to have a lane right through here. But he doesn't. He decides, I don't want to take that. And he tries to bounce it outside, and then on top of it, you get the fumble.
Yeah, that's a lot of bad in one play. It's like, all right, you didn't hit the right hole. You didn't set up your blocks properly. That's frustrating. But then when you do all of that and you don't follow what you're supposed to do, and then you fumble on top of it, that's how you turn wins into losses.
And then this is what Christian McCaffrey looks like as he's setting up blocks. Again, just there's so much nuance in how he runs. This isn't, I get it. This is an inside zone. It's not the same play. The blocking is a little bit different, but just the way he's going to set this up, they want to bring this right through here. That's where this play wants to go, but he's going to set this up with a front side attack, get people moving. He's going to draw this guy in. He's going to move this linebacker so that move them in so that Debo can go make a block. This guy's going to have to come down, and he's going to have a hole right through here. I feel like I'm drawing like old John Madden here, but he presses the hole that gets the flow started. That gets the flow started. Then he's going to cut up. Then he's going to take a jab step over, force this guy down, set up your blocks. That's what he's doing. All of this is setting up his blocks, and then he's able to cut off of them and go get the touchdown. And that's the difference that we saw, is that we didn't see this kind of ability to take one step, set up your blocks as it went. Mason's just downhill. Boom, I'm going to hit it, and I'm going to hit it hard. And again, sometimes that paid off really well. But then you have plays like this where every little steps gets you an extra yard. It's just, that's the difference.
Don't want to interrupt you, but I do want to let people know Michael Williams is officially back at practice today.
Let's go.
I know that there was the ankle injury. I was nervous. He's back at practice. Ricky Pearsall is back at practice. Ben Barch has been activated.
Let's go.
At practice for the 49ers. So there have been some health updates today that are very, very good, obviously. Didn't mean to divert you there, but I saw the chat talking about it. It confirmed it. Matt Barrows tweeted it out. And I just wanted to, let everybody know that some good things are happening for the Niners.
Yes, most likely he probably just rolled his ankle and it wasn't too bad. Like they said, it was a minor ankle injury. It's hard with the 49ers because so many times you'll hear, he's just dealing with a little thing. He had a little minor tweak, and then he's out for 3 weeks, and then 2 months later has surgery. And you go, well, sort of thing. And you go, wait a minute, I thought this was a little thing. So when you see that, to have him back is a beautiful thing.
But I loved the breakdown, and I wanted to point out too with Jordan Mason, as you're talking about this, like, this isn't Jordan Mason's first year in the system, right? Like if those were Isaac Guerendo clips, it's like, okay, I get it. It's a new system. You have to be more patient than he's probably had to have ever been in his career. Let's see what he can do in year 2. Has he corrected it? Has he adjusted? Well, with Jordan Mason, I know he hasn't gotten a ton of reps, but like, dude, man, this is not year 1. I am sure that they have drilled down those coaching points with him again and again and again, and it doesn't seem to have stuck. So that's part of it too, and part of their thinking of, should we trade this guy? What do we tender this guy at? Because remember, he was a restricted free agent. So that all of that goes into the stew when they're making these decisions.
Exactly, and it's why Elijah Mitchell was always running back number 2, even with his health concerns coming in, that Jordan Mason was routinely running back 3. And then, to start the year, it wasn't because he had earned running back number 1. Christian McCaffrey's down. Elijah Mitchell goes down in camp and doesn't play the entire year. That's what had Jordan Mason playing. It wasn't because they necessarily felt that. And I get it. There was a lot of fan appreciation for Jordan Mason, and it's not a Jordan Mason bashing party. It's just there was a reason why he was number 3 on the running back chart, depth chart. He just wasn't, and in this system didn't have quite the details down. It's why at the end of games, especially in 2023, we would sit there and say, why aren't we putting Jordan Mason in? Why is Christian McCaffrey still in there? Well, it's things like this. It's guys have to show this on tape whenever they're given their opportunities, not just yards they gained. This 49ers system is not about just, okay, I made 25 yards after contact, because they're going to say, yeah, that's fine, but we want the details of everything run exactly how we run it, because it's about the offense as a whole. It's not about you on that one play, because that one play could be good, but then you're going to kill the next play. We'll get third and -1, and now all of a sudden we are behind schedule, and our entire plan has been disrupted because you didn't stay on your details. And that's what makes it hard for these coaches to trust guys putting him in. It just is. You have to be on your details, especially in this offense. That is something we know for a fact after hearing all the years of Kyle Shanahan and everybody in there. They are really strong on those things.
NFL teams, and I think especially the 49ers, are way more concerned with process than they are with results. It's like Kyle has talked about it. Like, dude, if you do your own thing, if you ad-lib and you gain 50 yards, great. But you're not going to be able to do that every time. And when you ad-lib and you then don't gain 50 yards, Kyle is going to crush you, because whole life is spent just thinking of ways to set you up to be successful. And he's got to be sitting there going, just do the thing I told you to do. I did the hard, I don't want to say the hard part. One of the hard parts, coming up with this plan. You need to do your part, which is to execute the plan. And it's got to be incredibly maddening and frustrating for them when it doesn't happen. And eventually, you get time, and then your time runs out. And Jordan Mason is now gone, and it's Christian McCaffrey, it's Isaac Guerendo, it's Jordan James. So I'll be watching the helmet stripe. You got me trained now, Johnny. I'll be watching the helmet stripe in preseason what are these guys doing? And what are they looking at when they get the ball?
Exactly. And, because Kyle, he recently talked about that. I think it was Tim K on their podcast of, that Brock would go out there sometimes and there'd be an ad lib play and he'd score a touchdown and he'd sit there and he'd say, you do that, you come to the sideline, I'll be fist bumping you and excited because you scored a touchdown, but you do that again and you get us a sack. I'm going to be chewing your rear end when you get to the sideline.
Yep.
It's like, I'm not going to sit there and say, well, because it worked out for you before and it had a negative this time, I'm going to say it's okay. No, I'm never going to say it's okay. I think it was one of the times too, Kyle had talked about that Brock was running around making a play. And at first he was sitting there going, what are you doing? He was all mad. And then he threw a touchdown and he said, okay, I wasn't quite as mad at him anymore, but I still wasn't happy, because that's how coaches are. Like, that's how Bill Walsh was. I remember Mike Holmgren. I remember it was an America's Game episode talking about the catch two, the 49ers versus Packers 1998 playoff game that Brett Favre went out there and he drew up a play in the dirt to take the lead in that game right near the end. And he admitted, he was like, if Mike heard me say this, he would be so mad at me. And Holmgren was asked about it. And he said, yeah, he said, when I told Montana, I told Young, I told Favre, the thing that will drive me absolutely bananas is you going out there and drawing up something in the dirt. That will absolutely drive me bananas. I will pull you in a second for doing that. And Kyle's the same way. Like, that's how really high end offensive coaches are. They don't like guys going on their own script. And that counts for running backs, especially in a Shanahan offense.
Yeah, I remember that Favre play. He knew that the 49ers knew their audibles. So he was like, well, I'm going to call a dummy audible. I know they know this audible, so I'm going to pretend to call it because I know what they're going to do. And then the Niners did the thing that Favre thought they were going to do, and it led to, I think it was Antonio Freeman being wide open in the back of the end zone.
Yeah, I think it was a Q8 was what he signaled, which was it was an O signal for that was going to be a Q8, which was a curl and go. That's what a Q8 was.
Good times. Brett Favre torturing the 49ers in the playoffs year after year. There was before the Niners played the Packers in the playoffs a couple years ago, I wrote a piece for NinersNation.com about the history of the Niners and the Packers in the playoffs. The Green Bay Packers, I know it hasn't been recently, but man, they are responsible for so much misery and the ending the seasons of really good 49ers teams that could have won the Super Bowl. So I have no love lost for the Packers.
Yeah, imagine how Eddie DeBartolo feels.
Oh, jeez. God, what was it? 4 straight years of three or 4 straight years they eliminated the Niners from the playoffs.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Speaking of games in the past and 49ers of the past, I know that you said you were looking at some Frank Gore stuff and you fell into a rabbit hole of Joe Staley highlights. Do you have one readily available, either Gore or Staley? Want to pop in?
Just give me 1 second here. I can pull something. I have to pull it up for my recent projects. Because let's see.
Yeah, watching Frank Gore is it's a pleasure. He made so many good plays for this team, especially when they were nothing. It was just him. And everybody knew he was getting the ball, and he still came through.
Yeah, and I wanted to try and do a really special project on Frank Gore. If anybody's seen Brett Coleman's most recent video on Bob Sanders, it is phenomenal. It is absolutely incredible what he did. I wanted to do one just like that for Frank Gore, and I even reached out to NFL Films, and they basically were like, we don't license for YouTube, and so if you want to have sourcing for a documentary to sell it in independent film festival, we could do that. And I was like, no. I'm not doing that. I don't know where the project went of where it is. Okay. I got this though. I got this. Just give me 2 seconds here.
Okay. Well, we can all wax poetic about Frank Gore, and it's kind of relevant to this year because Gore is in the organization now. He had a hand in picking Jordan James. So they talked about it. Like you get the Frank Gore stamp of approval. That's got to mean something. Yet another reason to watch Jordan James this preseason when they actually get around to it. Are you going to watch former 49er Trey Lance tonight, Johnny? Starting for the Chargers?
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to be watching Trey Lance tonight. I mean, it's going to be something to watch. We're going to all see the former number 1 or number 3 overall pick.
Yep.
First round pick for the 49ers coming in and getting some playing time. So we're going to see how it is. I'm going to pull a couple clips here. It is wild to see, though, the improvement in technology that happened from even just 2011 to now, because this coach's tape looks so much different. Just give me again 2 seconds here. I'm going to give a trigger warning here just for people, because these clips are going to come from the 2011 NFC Championship game.
Oh boy.
So trigger warning. I'm just giving everybody a heads up.
I don't remember how that game ended. I've erased it from my mind. I know the Niners offense was struggling a little in that game. I think they only converted 1 third down the whole game. I think Michael Crabtree caught the only pass that a wide receiver caught the whole game. That was maddening watching that thing. If it wasn't for Vernon Davis, there would have been no passing offense in the game at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually have Greg Roman's play call sheet from that game.
What was on it?
There was actually a lot more passes than you would think. I was really surprised. It's the whole, like, the big laminated play call sheets that you see. I have his entire play call sheet from that game. And what is fascinating when you do look at those is seeing the layers of preparation that are there. Like, red zone is not just red zone. They have a package of plays from 20 to 15, 15 to 10, 10 to 5, 5 and inside. There's different plays for each section in there, just running plays, and then the passing plays on top of it. But it was fascinating to just look at and see that and go, okay, you really had that much trust in your different wide receivers. That's probably why the offense was so rough in that game. But here we go. We're gonna get some Frank Gore love. Hopefully
I have to ask.
It's still sinking.
Do you have the actual laminated sheet or just like a picture of the laminated sheet?
I have the Excel sheet.
Okay. All right. I was gonna say, like, if you have the actual thing, like, how the hell did you get that?
No, I don't have the hard copy that is there. I do have the Excel sheet, though, of what it is, which also includes the handouts, the quarterback wristband, what was on the quarterback wristband, and all that stuff. So this is Frank Gore. Again, I mean, the difference in quality. This is pre-HD coach's film. They're going to run a little screen here. Frank Gore made so many plays. So he's out here. This is Michael Strahan. This is how much respect the Giants had for Frank Gore. They're going to keep Michael Strahan on it was syncing up again, and it went weird on me. They're going to have Michael Strahan is going to see this and just chase Frank Gore. Look at the stack box that they have against Frank Gore. I mean, I get it. There's only one wide receiver out here, but the Giants went into this game and said, we are going to take Frank Gore away. And so they're trying to get a screen pass, the pursuit by everybody that's out here, because they had eyes on Frank all the time. And Frank still is just going to turn this, cut it back in, set up his blocks, working, and still gets 9 yards. That was Frank Gore, the inconvenient truth. Guy, the vision of Frank Gore was just special. You see him out here. He sees it. That's Michael Strahan. He says, I ain't letting you tackle me, and would still just fight for yards. The things that Frank Gore did were just awesome to watch. And then him and Joe Staley, like I said at the top, we just do not appreciate what these two guys were together. The 49ers are running a play. It was on the play sheet. This is part of the openers. It's called 14 read, excuse me. So this was, even with Alex in here, it's a little read option. That's why they called it 14 read. It has a little read option. Look here. They're going to have this. Frank Gore's got to start towards the 4 hole, which is the outside hip of the guard. And then they're going to look to actually cut this back up in here. Greg Roman, for all of his passing game woes, he really did understand, and still, has for many, many years understood how to coordinate a run game. It's just too unfortunate that we couldn't get the passing game with it as well. And that's why his tenures usually ended shortly. But what they're going to do is they're going to down block with the guard, and Joe Staley's going to pull and lead up on this linebacker. You don't see many tackles able to do this at any point in the NFL, let alone, and it's locked up again. This is so much readiness for this. Okay. Here we go. We're going to see Joe. He's right here. He's the blurry spot right there. Look at him run and get up in the hole, and Frank Gore tucking behind him and still get 9 yards. That was the inconvenient truth. Here's old Joe. You're going to have a down block. He's going to pull and come up through this hole. But watch these two guys' footwork together. I'm going to run this. They are step for step in time. That speaks to their work ethic, to their preparation, to how much they worked on this in practice. Watch those steps. They are perfectly in time. That is, when I talk about details of the game, those are two high-end professionals, Hall of Fame-worthy professionals of what that execution looks like. Their steps are perfectly in time together. That is what sometimes going back and looking at this and going, man, Frank Gore and Joe Staley, I wish so bad that we could have gotten those guys a ring, because both of them deserve to be in the Hall. They really do.
I will never forget the Alex Smith boot against the Saints in the playoff game, where he runs to his left. It's 3rd and 5, I think. And he runs to his left and he boots out and he's running down the sideline. And I just look up and I'm like, Joe Staley is 15 yards down the field and he's going up. I think it was Darren Sharper was the only defender there for the Saints. And I just remember as the play was happening, I look up and there's Joe Staley and I'm like, Alex Smith is going to score. Like, Staley's going to block this guy and there's nobody left. And that's exactly what happened. But I'll never forget seeing 74 out there just leading the way as the 49ers are making this all-time comeback in a playoff game.
The blocks that Joe Staley could do are things that you see like George Kittle and Kyle Juszczyk do in Shanahan's offense today. Things where, like, as a tackle, where he will turn one way and then loop around and run out and pull and be a lead blocker. I watched when it was against the Seahawks from week 1 of that year. Joe Staley is the left tackle, and they pull him on a sweep around the right side. You don't see that kind of stuff. Like, him and Alex were the lead blockers around that side. There's one tackle maybe in the history of the game. Maybe Trent Williams could do that, but Trent didn't have the agility that Joe Staley had. Like, the fact that he could get out there and run like that, that just wasn't a thing ever in the NFL. Like, that Joe Staley was a very special talent, and I don't think we fully understand how special he was.
We love you, Joe. You were the absolute best. We miss you. It would have been fun to see Joe Staley with Kyle Shanahan, but sometimes things don't always time up the way we want them to.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets me in my feels.
All right, everybody. That's going to do it for this edition of the show. Just a reminder, all the film breakdowns that we do are on a special playlist on YouTube, so you can go and check it out. We have covered the gamut this offseason. We've covered red zone issues. We've covered quarterback interception issues. We've covered all the draft picks, Michael Williams, Alfred Collins, all that stuff. Safety, Marquise Siegel. We did a Marquise Siegel breakdown at one point. Like, we have it all for you. Go check it out. I promise you will enjoy it. And if you want even more film breakdown, look at the Johnny Dell Football Academy on YouTube. It will make you a better, smarter fan. Enjoy the fact that people are back at practice today, everybody. And I can't wait to start breaking down some preseason film with you, Johnny.
Oh, man, I'm so excited.
Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, everybody. We'll talk to you next week.